Bird off the fake, improves his position, and the Celtics are up again.
So he comes out, he shifts to his right, and I jump. I said, got him. I'm pumping it by my hand, and I banged it on him, right? So
now he goes into double team. And the duel continues.
In '87, by the time we got done in our last finals, there was 500 reporters, and the game just grew so much. I mean,
yeah, the game grew a lot. You could tell from my first year to '84, it grew so much. And our commissioner, David Stern, at the time, did a fantastic job promoting the team.
My mama asked about him, and what she wanted to know was simple. How does one of the most athletic scorers in basketball history get shut down so completely that he doesn't shake the winner's hand for 13 years? Larry Bird's legend wasn't built on jumping higher or running faster. It was built on something scarier. In the 1988 Eastern Conference Semifinals, a confident young hooper walked into Boston Garden thinking his athleticism could conquer anything. He was about to learn that some games aren't played with your legs. What if I told you that you could score 47 points in a playoff game and still lose? What if I told you that Bird predicted exactly how this would happen and then made it come true anyway? If you're curious about how mental dominance beats physical dominance, smash that hype button and give this video some love. Let's go. The Boston Garden wasn't just an arena, it was a fortress. No air conditioning in the summer heat, dead spots on the parquet floor that players didn't understand, a crowd so hostile it felt like enemy territory. The Celtics had built their dynasty here. By 1988, they were old and injured, vulnerable, or at least that's what the Atlanta Hawks believed. The Hawks had won 50 games that season. They had youth and speed. They had Dominique Wilkins, the human highlight film, 6 feet 8 inches tall with a vertical leap that defied physics. He attacked the rim with aggression that intimidated defenders. The Hawks played explosive, visually spectacular basketball. This was the new NBA, they thought. Hooper culture, improvisation, athleticism, one-on-one dominance. Wilkins had averaged over 30 points per game in the regular season. He had tormented the Celtics throughout the series. The Hawks didn't enter with hope, they entered with expectation. They viewed the Celtics as relics to be removed, but they had misunderstood the game they were playing. Larry Bird couldn't outrun Dominique Wilkins. He couldn't outjump him. In 1988, Bird was 31 years old, but his body felt significantly older. He played with bone spurs in both heels that caused agonizing pain. His back was breaking down. Physically, he was a shell of his MVP prime. Yet he remained the most feared player in the Eastern Conference. His dominance came from cognitive superiority, a photographic memory of the court, an understanding of angles and spacing his opponents couldn't match, a psychological ruthlessness that bordered on cruelty. While Wilkins played with joy and aggression, Bird played with cold, calculating malice. He didn't just want to win, he wanted to humiliate. He wanted to prove his mind was stronger than their bodies. Game 7 arrived, and Dominique Wilkins entered the Boston Garden with ultimate confidence. The noise faded into white noise for him. He entered the zone, a state of heightened focus where the basket appears massive. In the first 3 quarters, Wilkins played the greatest basketball of his life, scoring from everywhere. Transition dunks, pull-up jumpers, post-ups. The Celtics threw multiple defenders at him. Kevin McHale, Dennis Johnson. Wilkins simply elevated over them. He was unstoppable. The young king was dethroning the old guard through sheer force of will. Then Bird looked at him and said something that changed everything. "I'm not going to let you win this game today." Not an insult, not typical trash talk, just a statement of fact about the future. Bird said it like he was reading the script before it happened. This wasn't reactive NBA talk. Bird's statement was predictive. He didn't say Wilkins couldn't win. He said he wouldn't. He made the game personal. Bird versus Wilkins. He was calling his shots before he took them. By telling Wilkins exactly what would happen, Bird staked his entire reputation on the outcome. Now we need to understand what happened next through the eyes of 5 legends who witnessed it. We're starting with the man closest to the action. Number 5. Kevin McHale was on the bench watching. McHale was a Hall of Famer, used to being a primary option, but in the 4th quarter, Bird interrupted coach K.C. Jones during a timeout. The game was tied. The season was on the line. The coach was drawing up a play. Bird said, "Give me the ball." He didn't care how many dunks Dominique was getting. He was determined to win alone if necessary. Bird went further. He told his teammates to get the hell out of the way. McHale, Robert Parrish, Dennis Johnson, Hall of Famers. In a team sport, telling Hall of Famers to become spectators is incredibly risky. If Bird missed, he would be the villain. But Bird didn't miss. McHale describes the 4th quarter. Eventually, he and the other Celtics stopped playing offense and started watching. They became spectators. The strategy shifted from run the offense to give it to Larry and clear out. The Hawks knew exactly what was coming. Bird was going to get the ball, and they still couldn't stop it. McHale recalls laughing on the bench, not out of disrespect, but amazement at Bird's dominance. The Hawks tried complicated defensive rotations, double teams, frantic switches. The The Celtics did one simple thing, and it was working. Number 4, Isaiah Thomas, leader of the Detroit Pistons and bitter rival of the Celtics, saw something specific in Bird's fourth quarter. Thomas described the effect as a cold shower. In sports psychology, momentum is real. The Hawks were running hot, fueled by Wilkins' dunks and Game 7 adrenaline, emotional, energetic, loud. A cold shower is a shock that resets everything. Thomas argues Bird's baskets weren't just points, they were sedatives. Dominique was the most athletic player on the floor, but Larry was in total control. Thomas said Larry ended Atlanta's hopes in 12 minutes by being mentally unbreakable. Every time the Hawks built momentum, high-fiving and screaming, Bird would hit a shot that silenced everything. The home crowd erupted while the Hawks bench went silent. This ability to regulate emotional temperature is mental toughness. Wilkins could raise it, Bird could lower the boom. Thomas highlights the contrast in facial expressions. Wilkins was expressive, Bird was stone-faced. Complete stoicism, terrifying for opponents. It signals that no matter how well you play, the opponent is unimpressed. The overconfident hooper relies on external validation, crowd noise, bench reaction. When Bird refused to react, he denied Wilkins the fuel he needed. Thomas views this game as the moment the Hawks learned that physical talent has a ceiling. Mental toughness does not. Number 3, Michael Jordan saw something different. Jordan spoke about killer instinct, the innate desire not just to win, but to dominate. For Jordan, the 1988 Game 7 was proof of Bird's killer instinct. Larry Bird was not the guy you wanted to challenge, Jordan said. Dominique challenged him, and Larry took that personally. He showed everyone that being a killer on the court matters more than being a high flyer. Jordan suggests Bird was offended by the Hawks' confidence. The overconfident hooper archetype was anathema to him, the young player who thinks athleticism equals superiority. Jordan notes Bird took it upon himself to teach Wilkins a lesson in hierarchy. It wasn't enough to beat the Hawks. Bird wanted to show they didn't belong on the same court. Jordan was struck by Bird's demand for the ball. "Give me the ball and I'm going to put this in the basket," Bird said. That's competitive nature. Most players run from such moments. A select few run toward them. Jordan points out that Wilkins was having a great game within the offense flow. Bird hijacked the offense. He demanded the ball not because he was open, but because he was Larry Bird. This distinction is the difference between a star and a killer. Wilkins was a star. Bird was a killer. Jordan admired that Bird, despite being physically broken, believed he was the only solution. Number 2, Magic Johnson, Bird's lifelong rival, offers structural analysis. Johnson's famous quote perfectly encapsulates the difference. Larry Bird's greatest weapon wasn't his jumper, Magic said. It was his mind. Dominique was putting on a show, but Larry was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. Checkers is immediate reaction, linear and aggressive. Wilkins was playing checkers. He saw a defender, he jumped over him. He saw a lane, he drove it. It relies on superior tools. Chess is different. It's foresight, spacing, and sacrifice. Bird was playing chess. He wasn't reacting to Wilkins. He was manipulating the entire board to create favorable outcomes 3 moves later. Bird knew he couldn't stop Wilkins from scoring, so he didn't try. He conserved energy for offense. He manipulated the Hawks' defense into favorable switches. He used the clock to limit possessions, reducing Wilkins' impact. Magic was a master of the open court. He recognized the Hawks thrived in chaos. They wanted a track meet. Bird forced the game into half court. Slowing it down neutralized the Hawks' athletic advantage. In half court, speed matters less than precision and IIQ. Bird's tempo control was the ultimate checkmate. Even though Wilkins scored 47 points, many came in bursts Bird allowed. Then Bird clamped down when it mattered most. Bird made the Hawks play his game even while scoring. This is why Magic asserts Bird broke their spirit. He denied them the rhythm they craved. Number 1, Dominique Wilkins describes the game from inside. He entered Boston Garden with ultimate confidence. The noise faded into white noise. He entered the zone. For 3 quarters, he played the greatest basketball of his life, scoring from everywhere, unstoppable. The overconfident hooper was winning. Then Bird made that statement, "I'm not going to let you win this game today." Wilkins' world shifted. Bird is a machine, Wilkins recalls. Every time I made a basket, he was right there to answer with something tougher. It was a shootout. I'd make a shot, he'd make a shot. I'd make a tough shot, he'd make a tough shot. But the psychological toll was unequal. For Wilkins, scoring was defiance. For Bird, it was discipline. Wilkins realized he couldn't shake Bird. The overconfidence curdled into anxiety. He was playing perfect basketball. Perfect. And he wasn't winning. That's when the hooper's spirit breaks. In the final 12 minutes, both exploded. Dominique scored 16 points. Larry Bird scored 20. Both shot over 60%. But how they got there differed. Wilkins' points came from supreme effort. Offensive rebounds, transition dunks, driving layups through traffic. Bird's points came from precision. 3-point three-pointers, fadeaways, free throws. Statistics hide the story. The defining sequence occurred in the final 2 minutes. First, the left-handed drive. With the Hawks clinging to life, Bird drove left, his offhand, past Wilkins. The hooper expects the shooter to go strong hand. The chess player knows this and counters. Bird finished with a soft layup, then the dagger three. After Wilkins scored a quick layup, Bird walked up the court. He didn't call a play. He pulled up from 25 feet. Deep range for 1988. He buried it. This is the killer instinct shot. High risk. If he missed, the Hawks get momentum. By making it, Bird sucked the air out. Finally, the and one. Bird drove into the teeth of defense. He absorbed contact from Kevin Willis. He banked in a shot while falling down. As he lay on the floor, he pumped his fist. This was the cold shower. This was the physical impossibility broke the Hawks' reality. Reports indicate Bird was verbal throughout the quarter. He would tell the defender which way he'd fake, then he'd do it anyway. This creates cognitive dissonance. If you know what he's doing, why can't you stop it? This is the ultimate psychological weapon against an overconfident hooper. It proves the gap isn't physical, it's mastery. The impact on Dominique Wilkins was profound. It wasn't just a loss, it was trauma. Usually the hooper learns a lesson and comes back stronger. This was different. The lesson was so harsh it created a permanent rift. We didn't talk to each other off the court, Wilkins said. We barely shook each other's hand. I did not shake Larry Bird's hand for 13 years. 13 years. This silence speaks to Bird's killer instinct. Bird didn't just beat Wilkins. He embarrassed him professionally. He took what Wilkins loved most, scoring, and made it irrelevant. Wilkins admitted the silence wasn't hatred. It was Cold War respect and pain. Pain from a loss so thorough that he couldn't be friendly with the man who dismantled his best chance at glory. The impact extended beyond one player. The 1988 Hawks were a team of destiny. After this loss, they plateaued. The swagger was gone. The ultimate confidence was gone. They knew monsters existed they couldn't slay. The overconfidence became caution. Bird's duel was the high watermark of the Wilkins era in Atlanta. Bird didn't just win. He broke a timeline. Here's what this story means. The overconfident hooper is a tragic figure in NBA lore, blessed with the gifts of the body, flight, speed, power. Because of these gifts, they believe they're invincible. Dominique Wilkins played a perfect physical game. He did everything a hooper is supposed to, but he ran into Larry Bird, a man who transcended the physical game. Bird exposed the flaw in the hooper's armor, the reliance on tools. When the game slows down, when pressure mounts, when legs get heavy, tools fail. The mind does not. Larry Bird's performance in Game 7 of 1988 is the ultimate rebuttal to modern obsession with athleticism. He demonstrated that basketball at its highest level is intellectual and psychological. He told Dominique Wilkins exactly how he'd lose. Then, with surgeon's precision and executioner's coldness, he made it happen. The Boston Garden erupted as the final buzzer sounded. The message was clear. You can jump over Larry Bird, you can run past him, but as long as the game is played with a ball and a clock, you're playing his game. In his game, the king always checkmates the pawn. This is why legends still talk about it. This is why Dominique went 13 years without shaking his hand. This is why Michael Jordan calls it proof of killer instinct. This is why Magic uses it to explain chess versus checkers. This is why Isaiah Thomas calls it a cold shower. This is why Kevin McHale still laughs. One man, one game, one moment. That's all it took to prove mind beats matter. Every single time. If you love this breakdown of basketball's greatest psychological victory, hit that like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into NBA legends. Drop a comment telling me which legend's perspective hit hardest. Who do you think had it right? The victim's realization? The tactician's analysis? The competitor's respect? The psychologist's understanding? Or the witness's amazement? Let me know. Hit the notification bell so you never miss when we break down the next epic story from basketball's greatest era.